Hey, everybody. I'm going to get this thing down. Okay, we are live here on Facebook, here in the Clean Jeans Challenge. I hope y'all are doing awesome. It's only, I guess, Wednesday, a couple days after we started, but I'm so excited already. I'm loving doing the bingo board. I'm loving seeing y'all's doing the same. And the post tonight about changing out some soap. That's just huge. Those are just that many more toxins not coming into your body. Well, tonight I'm going to jump right in it, and I'm going to do my best to keep this really 15 minutes or less. So I'm going to dive right in. Let me share my screen first. Let's see. This is where I got messed up last time. Let's see here. Is it working? Let's go here. All right, let's see. I got a little delay here. I think we're good to go. All right. So the COMT is the second, good, okay, it's working, is the second gene in the 7 genes that we're gonna cover. And there's a reason why this is number 2. You'll see a visual on that in a minute, but it's very closely related to the MTHFR. So you're gonna see a lot of similarities, especially when it comes to the food choices to help with COMT. A quick recap here, we are going to learn about 7 different supergenes. They're called supergenes because these are ones that have a huge impact in our health, a huge impact in our way we feel now and our susceptibility to big issues later down the road. So they're major categories, but they're also ones that we can positively impact. We can get them clean through our lifestyle. So none of these are your eye color or things about yourself that you can't change. These are ones that are influenced by our lifestyle. And if we know what we're doing, we can absolutely change them from dirty to clean. And also remember, this isn't about whether things were born dirty. That is a certain piece of knowledge that I love to know. Many of y'all in here too got your nutrition and fitness DNA test from ID Life. And so I know that I have the most born dirty MTHFR that you can have. So that is a good piece of information for me to know. So I have to really hone in on that one. But you know what? I've got a couple of others going on as well. And of course, we are one body. So many things interact with others, and it's just one big, just one big system. Okay, so don't bite off more than you can chew. Remember what that means, okay? Just chew the meat, spit out the bones. If there's information that goes over your head, don't worry about it. Just keep rolling. To gather info from this that you can, it's better to get a little bit that you can use and move forward with than to try to just let yourself just go nuts, okay? So don't let any of this overwhelm you. All right, COMT. Do you remember our irrigation analogy for MTHFR? If you haven't watched the methylation video, I would really advise you to stop this now, go back to the units and watch the methylation video. It is 40 minutes long, but it's such good information that sets the stage for all of the other, because methylation is our irrigation system for our entire body, okay? So that MTHFR, remember that was like the nozzle that gets it started. So look in this picture here, you see MTHFR is right there at the very beginning of our irrigation system. COMT is the next stop. It's the next spigot. It's the next opening where water gets to shoot out. So we really want to make sure that we understand that whole irrigation system and then all the pieces that apply to it. So remember, methylation is one of the most important processes your body undergoes constantly all day long. So what is COMT? You're going to see a pattern here. Usually we're talking about enzymes, and I'm sorry that my little head is, I'll have to see if I can change that or change my slides where it's not covering some of it up. So, okay, a COMT gene makes a COMT enzyme. MTHFR gene made MTHFR enzyme. A COMT gene makes the COMT enzyme, which guess what? Gets methylated. Remember, we learned that that's the addition of a carbon And now this enzyme is methylated and it can go to work. COMT is directly affected by, what does that say? By the methylation. I mean, y'all can see it. I don't know what I'm saying there. But absolutely, they all work together. So, okay, so the COMT gene, let's see, what does it actually do? So what is the goal of it? Okay, remember we learned with MTHFR, it's looking to break folate down so that that whole process can get started. Well, COMT actually has its own little set of rules, its own little project that it's doing. It specifically wants to process your body's estrogen, catechol, which I'm like, that's so cool. Those are those good things that you hear about in green tea. Like if you've ever heard that green tea helps maybe a natural way to fight against cancer, well, it's the catechols in there. And they're not just in there. They're also in some other caffeine containing dark chocolate, things like that. So the COMT enzyme needs to process estrogen, catechols, and also neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters such as dopamine, norepinephrine, and epinephrine. Okay, I'm not forget this thought, but those are some big deals, right? I mean, estrogen, wow, if our estrogen gets off, it is like, woo, train wreck, right? And dopamine and norepinephrine, epinephrine, that is our mood, that is our depression, anxiety, or our excitement and jubilation. So wow, this is really important, right? So right now, I'll go ahead and let you know, COMT can be fast or slow. If you haven't taken the checklist over in the units, go and do that. Know that all that is 5 questions for each of these sections, so you can isolate anything you score 2 or more on. But we are going to have a more in-depth checklist coming very soon. But that'll kind of give you a little ballpark. So COMT, MTHFR did not have this. COMT can be fast or it can be slow, okay? So what does it mean to be fast? So I want you to think of it like this. If your COMT is fast, that means it's going to be crazy fast at processing the estrogen, the catechols, and the neurotransmitters. So you have those in your system, you're fast, cheetah-like COMT, metabolizes, processes them so fast, boom, they're out of your system. So the result is you have very low levels of those nutrients, of those items, of the estrogen, the catechols, and the neurotransmitters. So low levels of estrogen can mean vaginal dryness, reduced sexual function, and trouble in menopause. So there are so many people that struggle with having low levels of estrogen. I think of right now of all the people that would come in the health food store and get the estro cream and all of that. Think about it. That very well could be just due to a fast COMT. And again, remember, fast means it's getting it out of your system fast. Therefore, you maintain a low level. Low levels of stress neurotransmitters can give a sense of calm. Okay. Maybe people with a fast COMT might seem real, just kind of even keel, like nothing really gets them going. They can be late and they don't care if you're late to an event, like they're real. It seems like it's almost hard sometimes to get them a little bit fired up. They can bring on an inability. This can also bring on, though, an inability to focus and an inability to get things done, lacking the energy and confidence, also a dependence on caffeine. So if that's ringing a bell, we're looking for, this is a fast COMT, means you're going to result in low levels of estrogen and dopamine. That's really probably the big one. And that's going to leave that person with a fast COMT being just really kind of melancholy, just moving slow, not a lot, gets them flustered. They also kind of have a hard time focusing, not very confident, just kind of even keel, but also may have struggle with a dependency on caffeine. Okay, so on the opposite end of that spectrum is a slow COMT. So, right, we got estrogen, catechols, and the neurotransmitters. If we have the enzyme is processing it slow, that means we're going to stay at a higher level. We're going to have a higher level of these items in our system. So higher levels of estrogen, really radiant skin. Beautiful skin can come from higher levels of estrogen, good sexual function, and also really some nasty PMS. All right, too high of estrogen is, you know, it's not going to be good once a month for sure. But there are some other things coming with having higher dopamine and higher norepinephrine, which turns into epinephrine. High levels of stress neurotransmitters can make one more energetic, more enthusiastic, maybe more driven, someone that seems like they have a lot of drive. Maybe it's hard for them to power down. Maybe it's easy for them to power up and get excited and have to go conquer the world. But it's hard to relax and wind down. Also, that person really needs to take a breath and try to get some restful sleep, because obviously powering down and getting sleep is super important. Caffeine is also a crutch. I thought this kind of summed it up. Most of the time, this woman might be superwoman, but once a month, you better watch out. So I don't know if that resonates with you. So we have fast and we have slow. So I feel like this sometimes. Do you ever feel like this? A little bit of both. And here's the thing, just like COMT, you can have a clean COMT, you can have a dirty, slow COMT, a dirty, fast COMT, and those two can flip back and forth. Like it wasn't hard enough already, right? So if you felt like you had some symptoms on both sides of that, just know you got a dirty COMT and we need to work on that, okay? We want to find that happy medium where we're not like up and down and yin and yang all the time. So let's dive in a little bit deeper. Symptoms of a fast COMT. So look over here on the right, fast COMT, you're gonna have a low level of estrogen, dopamine, and norepinephrine, right? Because that COMT enzyme is shooting them out of your system too fast. Here are some symptoms. This is the same thing we talked about before, but now in a more isolated, more organized system. Calm, good-tempered, sleeps well, good stress response. Remember, this is the even keel person. Good pain tolerance, high pain tolerance, but difficulty finishing tasks, difficulty focusing, very forgetful, lack of confidence, lack of optimism, low energy, menopause, reliance on caffeine. Chocolate or green tea. Those catechol are in all of that. So if your body's getting rid of them faster than normal, then you're going to feel like you need some more. Here's some health conditions that can arise out of a fast COMT that goes unnoticed, right? Once we notice these things, boom, that is our system. That is our message system that's going to help us get these cleaned out. But if you don't, and you don't adjust for it, here's some things that can happen. ADHD. ADHD is a result of a fast COMT. Addictive disorders, drugs, alcohol, gambling, shopping, video games. That's that rush, that desire to chase the dopamine. That's what you're seeing there. Why? Because the dopamine is flushed out into the system too fast, okay? Depression and learning disabilities. All of those can result from a fast COMT that leave us with low levels of the stuff. All right? Now let's flip over. Let's go to the slow CMT. That means we're going to have high levels of estrogen, catechols, and dopamine, okay? So we're going to be more hyped up. Confidence, energy, enthusiasm, strong sexual function, estrogen issues, right? Because we have a high level of estrogen, irritability, pain tolerance, workaholism, sensitivity to caffeine in coffee, chocolate, and green tea. Does this sound like you? Here are some health conditions. These were a little bit more. Health conditions associated with slow COMT. Acute coronary syndrome, that's supposed to be ADD, I guess. Yeah, ADD with hyperactivity, anxiety, bipolar disorder, breast cancer, fibroids, fibromyalgia, panic disorder. So this is really tensed up, okay? Parkinson's results from slow COMT, PMS, preeclampsia, schizophrenia, stress cardiomyopathy, stress-related hypertension, and uterine cancer. Okay, so not good, right? We don't want that. We definitely don't want any of those. So we don't want fast or slow. We want it just right. So we want Goldilocks COMT, not fast, not slow. All right, I thought that was just too good of a visual. So what makes it dirty? All right, so we've isolated what being dirty might look like, but what makes it dirty? And we're gonna ask Methylation Momma because it has everything to do with her. So a dirty MTHFR absolutely makes a dirty COMT. They are, think of them, they run together. They're in the same posse. Insufficient magnesium, folate, or B12 or B12. So remember, dirty MTHFR results in an insufficient amount of folate. So that's in here as well. Magnesium's a big one for COMT. So I wanted to really highlight that because insufficient magnesium itself, boom, can turn a COMT dirty. So magnesium is really important for COMT. Too much stress all by itself, boom, can turn your COMT dirty. I've done some research outside of, we're pulling out of this book. And so I've read a few other articles from others other than Dr. Ben Lynch. And this one girl, the way she put it, one lady, she's a naturopathic doctor, talks about it's the stress mess gene. So she goes more into the stress side of COMT. So I want to highlight that because there's probably a whole other umbrella. We're going to hit on it, but in her eyes, that other naturopathic doctor, that was the big one, was stress. She said stress itself, a stressful event that's not properly dealt with, boom, COMT is dirty. It just happens. It's a flip of a switch. So really, we're going to start to talk about the meditation and the breathing and the sleeping and the REM sleep and all that good stuff is coming up right away after this because of this. So also overexposure to plastics. Did you know plastics are xenoestrogens? Coming in contact with plastic all day long spikes your estrogen level. Wow, right? Yeah. Okay. So what are we going to do, Methylation Mama? How are we going to water our garden, use the petal method, and avoid the effects of a dirty COMT? Well, we're going to stay within these 5 petals throughout this entire challenge, throughout this training: food, exercise, supplementation, sleep and stress, and detox. Okay, so when it comes to COMT, what goes into each of these petals of our garden? All right, the foods. So remember I told you that COMT and MTHFR are like, first cousins, maybe even sisters or something when it comes to the nutrients that they need. Not exactly identical, but very similar. So think of all the same things that we love for MTHFR. All the greens, the green leafy greens full of folate are also full of magnesium, dark leafy greens. But now let's also talk about beets, carrots, onions, nuts, dandelion greens, and radishes specifically are mentioned here. And actually, I think it was on MTHFR. Those are both bitter, and those are really good for your liver. Remember, 85% of methylation takes place in your liver. So everything that's liver loving is going to be something you want to hone in on, because that's going to be good for MTHFR and COMT. Milk thistle, I don't know if I put that on there. Get you some milk thistle tea and sip on that. That's got an amazing stuff to help protect your liver. Seeds, fish, beans, avocados, whole grains. Don't skip meals, okay? We are not wanting to spike. We don't want to spike up and down on anything. This is about figuring this thing out and staying balanced. Eat clean, okay? Every time you eat a non-organic, a conventional strawberry that has been sprayed with Roundup, you're getting Roundup in your gut. I hate it as much as you do, but it's the truth. So I have to say, if you don't get organic strawberries, don't eat strawberries. They suck up Roundup, and Roundup can even, this is how I end up taking so long, but Roundup can colonize in your gut and start growing its own little garden in your gut. It's not good, okay? So we want to stay away from Roundup and phthalates and the other things, especially to take them inside of our body, which on your skin does the same. Protein is needed for a slow COMT. So slow COMT means you're going to have the higher levels, right? So that means you're going to need protein to help level you out. Moving your body, right? Exercise is our friend for sure. Being overweight, just being overweight, having excess fat can make your a born clean COMT flip to dirty. All right. So we gotta maintain our body weight. I told you this isn't a weight loss challenge, but at the end of the day, we need to be operating at a non-obese place for our genes to function properly. Okay. Body fat creates estrogen, making it harder for you to regulate your estrogen. It makes too much for your body, and then it's hard for it to process it. Exercise is a necessity for a slow COMT. So I pointed those two things out. Protein is a slow friend. Exercise is a necessity for a slow COMT. And I'm sorry, y'all, I'm kind of nasally if I say I'm funny. I've had some sinus stuff this week. Okay, supplementation. I'm pointing out the magnesium. No folic acid. Do not take folic acid. Stop taking folic acid right away. Replace it with folate. B12, B2, and magnesium. Magnesium is really important for so many reasons. For stress, it's basically a muscle relaxer. And so it also is needed for absorption of other things. So a deficiency in magnesium, which most human beings are deficient in magnesium, deficiency in magnesium is a multi-pronged issue. So we just don't want to do it. I have never seen anything like ID Life, ID Nutrition vitamins, never, even down to the scientific name behind each little thing. For every single one of them is the best methylated form. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, reach out. But absolutely, when it comes to the supplementation pedal, ID Nutrition is the best that there ever has been in this country in the last 100 years. Like, trust me, it's that good. And I would love to talk to you more about that. But okay, your magnesium, your folate, good to go. Okay, so let's visit that xenoestrogen plastic thing again. You really have to avoid those because they create fake estrogen. So now your body's creating fake estrogen that your COMT enzyme has to flush out. And if you have a slow or a fast one, you're just adding, pain to the wound or whatever, pouring salt in the wound. I mean, it's just making it 10 times worse. So what can you do? Sauna, hot yoga. Now start thinking everything that detoxes. So remember, we're going to avoid as much as we can. So let's get away from plastics as much as we can, right? And then we're also going to do things to help the toxins that inadvertently or inevitably do come in to go out. So pee, poop, sweat, and breathe, right? Drink your water, eat foods high in fiber, eat the right foods, get your probiotics, your digestive enzymes, and your omegas in there. What did I say? Pee, poop, sweat, hot yoga, sauna, get outside, get some vitamin D, anything to make you sweat, okay? And then breathe. Did you know toxins come out when you breathe? So we're gonna do some guided breathing, which is absolutely going to help to detoxify. I feel like it detoxifies your brain like instantly, but we'll do that together. Avoid Roundup, avoid Roundup, avoid Roundup. That's glyphosate, okay? Eat clean, eat organic as much as you can, okay? Remember, this is always about just taking another step, just doing another little thing. And before you know it, you'll look back and go, look at all these cool things I'm already doing. I don't even feel like it's strange anymore. Eliminate the phthalates in your personal care products. So pick up your shampoo bottle, turn it over, look on the ingredients, look towards the end. If a bunch of words end in phthalates, I'm gonna challenge you, throw that sucker away and go get, there's some amazing shampoo options. Even like Kroger and places like that now have all natural shampoo and personal care products. No longer do you have to go buy like its most expensive lavender. You can only get it at a health food store. It's widely available now, luckily, because it's in high demand. So just make that swap, done, you'll be good. I love Giovanni. That's a good one. I need to look at it. Might not be quite as clean as I'm thinking it is. I need to double check that. But and then work on eliminating chemicals in the house. Like I told you, very soon I'm gonna invite one of my friends on here that's gonna teach us how to use essential oils to clean the house. And you know what? It's awesome. It's awesome, awesome, awesome. There's so many fun things to explore. All right, sleep and stress. Stress alone can dirty up COMT. So I want to talk, I'm going to do a separate thing on meditation, but I want y'all to hear me right now, especially my friends who are just like me and probably think like I do and like I did a few months ago. Kate Mays introduced me to meditation back when I still thought it was crazy weird. And then Rachel Friedman is on here. She has actually been my mindset coach and really helped me understand meditation at a new level. I had a preconceived skepticism about it, which is fine. We probably all do about everything in life. But here's what made sense. She said, where praying might be talking to God, think of meditation as listening. So when you're meditating, if you can just understand that what you're really doing is you're just sitting in stillness and actually recognizing, observing your own thoughts. I just said I'm not going to go too deep into it, but I just want to give you a little bit of a teaser there. It is absolutely phenomenal. And for someone who is too wired, it can really help them to slow down and focus. And for someone who needs it, it can really help them to center. So it's there for both the fast and the slow COMT. And I can't recommend it enough every single morning. Okay. Every single morning. And I need to get to where I do it every night also. My watch just told me to breathe. That's funny. All right. So meditation is your friend. Consistent bedtime and routine. If you can do that, do it. Do it as much as you can. Try to go to bed. You know, you probably wake up mostly about the same time every day. Try to go to the bed the same time every day. Something about getting that chronobiology going, getting that clock going. You need your REM sleep. I was just talking to a friend tonight, talking again about this. During REM sleep is the only time your brain gets to detoxify. Okay. Yes. So if you never get REM, the brain never detoxes. I heard the best analogy that worked for me was a doctor talking about it. And he said, picture, you know, that show, Hoarders, what those houses look like when someone's a hoarder. That is what a sleep deprived brain looks like. So it is only during REM sleep that the trash gets taken out from the brain. So if that's not enough to get you realizing how important it is to get your 7 hours minimum, do everything you can to make that happen. Our sleep strips help give your REM sleep. Anything you can do. And something like, a lack of sleep really can lead to Alzheimer's, dementia, ALS, the brain-related degenerative diseases later in life. Now that makes sense to me. If you have a brain that was never allowed to properly detox because you sleep deprived, maybe you're a workaholic and you think 4 hours a night is fine. It's not. You got to move it up with eat right, exercise, drink water, get my 7 hours. It's right all there together. And declutter your home. A sense of calm and peace just comes over you if your house is nice and clean. You don't need a bunch of stuff laying everywhere. You know, everything you look at, if you've got clutter in a room, everything you look at is actually a decision that you have to make. So do your best to just let your area be as stress-free as possible. Now let's see, are we on? That's it. That's the last slide. So there is, how are we on time? I think I'll just end there. Maybe I'll read this another time. There is a little story here. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and read it. If you want to shut me up, you can. But I thought this really said a lot. One thing in the book is he follows people's journey as their doctor and kind of reports on it. And I made a note and I said I wanted to read this aloud to y'all. So I'm gonna do it. So this is talking about two different people, Blake and Margot. So let's see. I'll never forget the last conversation I had with Margot and Blake. Even though this is gonna be Margot, even though her COMT was slow and his was fast, they both said something similar. Margot said, I feel like knowing this biochemistry has helped me understand myself in a way I never could before. I always felt bad about being tense and wired and so high energy, like it was somehow my fault that I couldn't be like other people. Now I see that I just have a lot of extra dopamine. That's cool, that's very cool, but I can't let it get out of hand. Blake, on the other hand, said, I always felt like I was maybe lazy or sort of slow, but it wasn't that. I just had low dopamine levels. I like the way I am, to be honest, but I'm glad I can do something about the parts of my biochemistry that don't always work so well. For both Margot and Blake, the key was self-awareness. Margot needed to notice when her dopamine levels were climbing, when she was getting too tense, too keyed up, or too wrapped up in work. She needed to make a conscious effort to take breaks, to slow down periodically, to balance her high intensity action with some serious relaxation. She didn't need to calm down or take life easy. She needed to figure out how to make her high intensity style work better. Blake needed to notice when he got spacey, forgetful, or unfocused. He needed to make a conscious effort to support his fast COMT with a high protein diet and maybe give himself an occasional boost of tyrosine. He didn't need to push himself harder. Rather, he needed to learn how to work smarter, how to give his brain what it needed to complete the task he chose to undertake. I think that's a great way to look at it. All this can give us understanding of why we are the way we are, boundaries to not push past, and tools to address the things that we want to change. Tyrosine there, I forgot to say this, for a fast COMT, tyrosine is really good. And that is one of the ingredients in Slim. So if you're feeling amazing after you drink a Slim Plus, that's probably why. So it's a precursor to dopamine. But anyway, okay, that's that. I hope that was helpful to read that little bit. I hope I haven't gone way, way, way too long. And yeah, have a great night. We'll talk soon. Bye. Oh, how do I? Stop share. Y'all catching me all crazy. All right, there we go. Bye.